Artificial neurons can be created using carbon materials. They can guide neurons through generate, or they can be used to give robots sensation. They operate very much like a neuron carrying electrical potential across it, but they don't need to be interfaced with biological components. We'll talk about it. Part of the problem when it comes to regenerating neurons is that the signal is cut, meaning even if they were to somehow reconnect the neurons, it wouldn't be transporting signals, so nothing's there to guide them. Because things like graphene have a great amount of conductivity, they can provide a bridge and teach the old neurons how to bridge the gap and allow them to grow. Essentially, they're stimulating them and showing them how to grow. While the graphene bridge works pretty well all on its own, it's always best to have something biological to grow with it. It's also the same reason why people have been using graphene to interface with brain organoids, the tiny human brains you can grow from stem cells. In order to communicate with them, you're going to have something that is conductive. Graphene can translate something like touch directly into electricity, which our nerves can perceive. It's also been used for stuff like taste and sight, which we saw with brain organoids piloting the dog robot. While prosthetics and regenerative medicine is a huge part of this field, these can also be used to recreate sensation. That could allow a robot to move much more naturally, be able to perceive things like pain or subtle differences in texture. That's going to be very important if we have humanoid robots taking over human roles in society. They're going to have to live in the same world that we do. Using something that's able to translate something like sensation directly into electrical activities that could be perceived by a robot, or better yet, an actual brain, drastically reduce the time it takes to translate an experience. It will, of course, need to be set up just like our own nerve endings, which can carry electrical potential. It will also need to be insulated. And of course, having this technology will help us understand how to do things like insulate our own neurons, which could be used as treatments for conditions which degrade the insulation. There's a whole hell of a lot of technology that can come out of just this one thing. Being able to tune these materials is important for both robotics and prosthetics. If you have a replacement hand, you don't want it to be hypersensitive to everything, and fortunately, they can be tuned. You also don't want your robot freaking out because it's feeling hypersensitive either. I really appreciate that we're getting to the point where robotics and medicine are colliding, where a nervous system could be used for humans, or it could be used for our creations. We're not quite there yet. We're not at the point of making a robot that has the same feelings as a human. We may never be there, but we are taking the first steps towards making something that mimics humanity really well. What is the purpose of having a robot that can taste or smell stuff? I actually don't know the answer to that one. If you do, let me know. I had an argument with somebody last night about whether we could ever achieve consciousness. We can, achieve sentience. There's a good deal of argument about whether brain organoids are sentient, whether or not they're really having an experience, if they're capable of a preference. That is, a preference for ordered signals versus disorder, and they certainly enjoy dopamine. Though some consider them sentient, along with, their ability to learn and play video games and pathfind their way through mazes, or understand Braille or language. But others think that you can't really apply that to something that isn't, biological. Well, they're biological. Normal biological? Natural biological? Consciousness would be the abstract perception of self, and that is a very difficult thing to demonstrate. I think we could get there. However, I would say that even if we made a 1-to-1 scale model of a brain made of brain organoids and popped it in a robot, no one is ever going to agree that that is conscious. There will always be a controversy on it. I think the same thing could be said if we made a scale model of the brain out of artificial neurons. Even if it could behave very much like a person, some people would just never accept it. Well, what do you think?